I'm going to deviate from the account of Yeshua's birth and genealogy from Matthew and John because I have more studying to do. I didn't get a lot of studying done. But a good disciple should always have something he's meditating, or him or her are meditating on, that they could share in an instant if they needed to. And that's what we're going to do today. I'd like everybody to turn to Psalm 119. Turn to Psalm 119. Now, I've told you before, I've been chewing on this psalm for months now. The more I look, the deeper I look, the deeper it gets. It's an incredible psalm. Technology is not our friend. So, we're going to be looking through not the whole psalm, but we are going to be looking through a few pieces of it. And I want to explain some things to you up front. Many of you probably already know this. The psalm is broken down by every letter of the Hebrew alphabet, starting with Aleph, ending with Tav. Okay? Each letter of the alphabet has what in English is an 8-verse stanza. Now, I told you before that I was wondering if it was possible that Daniel might have wrote this, because he was in exile, and this psalm reads like somebody that might have been in exile. And the more I've been chewing on this, I'm slapping myself in the head saying, come on, man. David was basically in exile from Saul for 40 years, waiting to be king. Right? And he was dubbed man after Yah's own heart, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by giving you a few definitions, because some of these words, as we're going through here, are going to sound synonymous, but they each have their own little flavor to them. All right? Testimonies. Testimonies are what Yah has declared and done. Some examples of that would be the ark, the jar of manna to remind us of the manna, Aaron's rod that budded. We all know the stories behind those, right? And they're testimonies. Things that he said he was going to do, and then he did. Precepts. How to walk things out carefully, as we're supposed to. A quick example of that. Who remembers that they were to leave the corner of their fields when they were harvesting, right? Remember that? Okay, that is a precept. Okay? Statutes. This is what is fixed, and it requires trust. Statutes, good examples of statutes are the feast, the Sabbath. Okay? They're fixed, and they do require trust. The commandments are what Yah has directly commanded us. You shall have no other Elohim before me. And here's one. This is a commandment. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Judgments. This is how the righteousness is applied. If a servant is bought, this is how you do it. How long he serves, this is how long he serves, and this is how he is released. You're given those instructions. I saved the law for last because the law encompasses testimonies, precepts, statutes, commands, and judgments. So we're going to go through some of these Psalms, and we're going to look, and we're actually going to see most of these in just about every one of these stanzas. One more word I want to bring up. Revive. David's going to ask Yah to revive him several times throughout this psalm. He's asking for that life to come back. He's asked to be realigned with him. Okay? He's asking for that to be refreshed. We can only imagine how worn out he was on that avoiding Saul. Okay? So let's go through Aleph. We'll begin in verse 1. Blessed are the undefiled in the way, who walk in the law of Yah. Blessed are those who keep his testimonies. Remember? Who hold on to, who guard the things that he said he was going to do and the things that he did. Okay? Remembering those, guarding those. Who seek him with the whole heart. He told us to seek him with the whole heart. They also do no iniquity. They walk in his ways. You have commanded us to keep your precepts. The way he's told us to walk. Guard those. To keep your precepts diligently. Oh, that my ways were directed to keep your statutes. The fixed things and the required things. The feasts. Oh, that my ways were directed to keep those statutes. Then I would not be ashamed. When I look into all your commandments, I will praise you with uprightness of heart. When I learn your righteous judgments, I will keep your statutes. Oh, do not forsake me utterly. Now, this is the beginning of a very long psalm. And as he's going through this, he's laying out the things that Yah's already laid down. And at the end of this, it gets a little personal, okay? And when he gets to verse 5, oh, that my ways were directed to keep your statutes. Let me get somebody to hold their finger there and turn to Ezekiel 36, verse 27. Ezekiel 36, verse 27. Somebody with a strong voice. Because I'm going to have you read that whole verse. Who wants to read it? Eric?
Yeah, 36:27.
Yep.
I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes. And you will keep my judgments and do them.
Oh my. How does that fit?
Did you say 36:37 or 20?
36:27. How about that? That fits like a glove, doesn't it? What are we doing right now?
Trying to do that.
Exactly. We're guarding the Sabbath. We're guarding we guarded the Passover. We guarded the first fruits, the unleavened bread. We're guarding the counting of the Omer up to Shavuot. We're guarding those. Now, some of you might have noticed that there's occasionally, only on days that end in a Y, a difference between the way some people are counting. We're all at different levels in our study. We base what we believe and walk on what we've been taught and able to bring into our hearts and bring into our lives, right? And as long as we are getting together, we can even talk about those differences and maybe work out some issues with those differences. I'm not here to tell anybody a right way and a wrong way. I want to point out, not in this study, but I would like to point out what I've learned and where the scriptures have brought me thus far and why I believe we should be able to do that. We should be able to defend that from the scriptures, why we believe what we believe, being ready in season and not a season. But we should also always continue being a disciple. We should be a disciple and have a disciple. Being a disciple means we're continually learning. We're continually in the Word. David's going to keep up on that. Let's go to Beth, starting in verse 9. So he laid out what Yah has told us to do. And in the second one, he says, how can a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed according to your word. With my whole heart I've sought you. Oh, let me not wander from your commandments. He's crying out to Yah. Don't let me wander from your commandments. Your word I've hidden in my heart that I might not sin against you. Blessed are you, O Yah. Teach me your statutes. With my lips I have declared all your judgments of your mouth, all the judgments of your mouth. I have rejoiced in the way of your testimonies, as much as in all riches. I will meditate on your precepts and contemplate your ways. I will delight myself in your statutes. I will not forget your word. So now he's engaging and asking that strength, that power. You know, in the apostolic writings, we read that we can do all things through Messiah who strengthens us, through the Spirit. He's the one that strengthens us. We just had testimony about that when we were going through the prayers. Okay? The strength from Yah. He's asking for that. He knows his frailty. I think we all know our frailty. And you notice you keep seeing these words over and over again. Gimel. Now, as I'm pondering this psalm, I'm digging deep. Carmen, maybe you can help me out with this.
Yes.
Maybe. You don't have to. But I'm wondering if there's a tie between the letter of the alphabet and which each one of these stands. I just think that deep. Okay? I'm not trying to figure it out right now or today, but I'll bet you that there's a rhythm to that. Why? Why would I say that? Because of what I've learned of Yah up to this point. I know how detailed he is. This is deeper than I will ever know in my whole lifetime. David and I were talking before service. The more we dig, the more we find out we got more to learn. Because we peel this onion back a little bit and it uncovers other things that we have to consider. And we're always looking at the whole context from Genesis to Revelation. We want to be thinking along those lines. Us in this time frame, because we are post Yeshua's life and work up on the cross and the resurrection. We have our faith in that. We didn't see it, but we've read about it and we believe it. Abraham and them, as we find out in Hebrews 11, they believed and hadn't seen. Okay? So we continue to read over and over and over again, and we do find out that the word of Yah is alive. It is alive. And as he teaches us the statutes or the precepts or whatever David is leading to here, as those are revealed to us, as we begin to apply those in our lives, he gives us more. He gives us a little bit more insight. He shows us we've not yet reached the depth. And Paul tells us, who can measure the depth or the width, right? So, all right, let's picking it up in Gimel. Deal bountifully with your servant. Now he's pleading again. He's asking again. Deal bountifully with your servant, that I may live and keep your word. Open my eyes that I may see wondrous things from your law. He's asking his eyes to be open. He understands his eyes need to be open for him to see it. How many people know that you can pick up the Bible and read it and not understand a lick of it? Okay? It isn't until the Spirit reveals things to you that you begin to grasp it and understand it. I am a stranger in the earth. Do not hide your commandments from me. My soul breaks with longing for your judgments at all times. You rebuke the proud, the cursed, who stray from your commandments. Remove from me reproach and contempt, for I have kept your testimonies. So he's asking again, remove this. Princes also sit and speak against me, but your servant meditates on your statutes. Your testimonies also are my delight and my counselors. As we guard these things, we learn from them. I've been through, I think 6 now. 6 Passovers, 5 tabernacles, just here at Old Paths, right? I pick up something every year as we continue to go through it. It's cyclical. Yah's building on what he's already taught us. He's bringing us further along in that relationship with him, closer to him. Daleth, my soul clings to the dust. Revive me according to your word. Now here's how the revive happens. It's according to what he said. It's according to his word. Have you ever been in a situation where you're just worn out? Not necessarily from sin, you're just exhausted from everything that's been going on. And you sit down and you read the word. It doesn't have to be the Psalms. You just find yourself reading the word and you find yourself refreshed, right? That alignment is getting realigned, okay? The interaction between the Spirit that dwells within us and the word is what is refreshing. So, I have declared my ways, and you answered me. Teach me your statutes. Again, he's asking to be taught. Taught by who? Taught by Yah. Okay? Make me understand the ways of your precepts, so I shall meditate on your wonderful works. My soul melts from heaviness. Strengthen me according to your word. Now, if David is the one that wrote this, and I actually believe that now, his soul melting from heaviness. Can you understand that with what we've read about David's life and how Saul was chasing him and what he was having to go through, right? And oh, by the way, when was he anointed? Before or after Saul was chasing him? Right. He's been told he's anointed, and yet it takes 40 years for that to come to fruition. And trust me, that whole 40 years, Yah's building the man that he wanted in that kingship. In our lives right now, everything that we're going through, he's building us into the people he created us to be. We have a tendency to fight that This is a good way to get knocked back into play. This particular psalm, reading through this psalm, remembering to get put back into play. Remove from me the way of lying and grant me your law graciously. I've chosen the way of truth. Your judgments I have laid before me. I cling to your testimonies. Oh, yeah, do not put me to shame. I will run the course of your commandments, for you shall enlarge my heart. Hey, teach me. He's asking again. It's a constant thing. Teach me. Oh, yeah, the ways of your statutes, and I shall keep it to the end. Give me understanding, and I shall keep your law. Indeed, I shall observe it with my whole heart. Make me walk in the path of your commandments, for I delight in it. Incline my heart to your testimonies, and not to covenantness. Turn away my eyes from looking at worthless things. Boy, does that apply today. Anybody seen the internet? Would you say the majority of that is worthless, or would you say there's good there, but you got to wade through a bunch of not good to find the good. And revive me in your way. Establish your word to your servant, who is devoted to fearing you. Turn away my reproach, which I dread. For your judgments are good. Behold, I long for your precepts. Revive me in your righteousness. You know, something's coming to me right now. Y'all just stay right there. I'm going to pop over here to all right, I'm going to pop over here to what Paul says in Romans chapter 7, and I'm just going to read it to you. You just listen to this as we're going through the psalm. I want you to listen to what Paul says. And I've heard this taught that there was a day when Paul was going through this, but he had long passed this by the time he wrote this. And I don't think so. I think no. I think Paul was dealing with this just like we deal with it all the way through his whole life. Because when Yah put his spirit within us, he didn't take the flesh away, did he? No. He showed us, he opened his word to us, and he's leading us, and we're to make the decision on whether we're going to do all he says, or whether we're going to do what the flesh is calling out to do. So listen to what Paul says. Romans 7, verse 7. What shall we say then? Is the law sin? Certainly not. On the contrary, I would not have known sin except through the law. For I would not have known covetousness unless the law had said, you shall not covet. But sin, taking the opportunity by the commandment, produced in me a manner of evil desire. For apart from the law, sin was dead. I was alive once without the law, but when the commandment came, sin revived, and I died. And the commandment, which was to bring life, I found to bring death. For sin, taking occasion by the commandment, deceived me, and by it killed me. Therefore, the law is holy, and the commandment is holy and just and good. Has then what is good become death to me? Certainly not. But sin, that it might appear sin, was producing death in me through what is not good. Through what is good. So that sin, through the commandment, might become exceedingly sinful, so that it could be exposed for what it is. For we know that the law is spiritual. The law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin. For what I am doing, I do not understand. For what I will to do, that I do not practice. What is he willing to do? The same thing David's writing about back here. The testimonies, the precepts, the statutes, the commandments, the judgments, the law. That's the desire. But the flesh is right there. Listen as we keep going. But I am carnal, sold under sin. Let's see. For what I will to do, I do not practice, but what I hate, that I do. If then I do what I will not to do, I agree that the law is good. But now it is no longer I who do it, but the sin that dwells in me. For I know that in me, that is in the flesh, nothing good dwells. For to will is present with me, but how to perform what is good I do not find. For the good that I will to do, I do not do, but the evil I will not to do, that I practice. Now, if I do what I will not to do, it is no longer I who do it, but it's the sin that dwells in me. I find then a law that evil is present with me, the one who wills to do good. For I delight in the law of Elohim according to the inward man. But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind. You hear that? The law of my mind. How many understand the mind is a battlefield? You see, he's not talking about being a drunk in this. He's not talking about things that are visible that other people might be able to see. He's talking about the things that are going on inside of his heart, and meaning his center. Okay. But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind, and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members. O wretched man that I am, who will deliver me from this body of death? I thank Elohim through Yeshua Messiah our Lord. Then, with the mind, I myself serve the law of Elohim, but with the flesh, the law of sin. Nobody in this room would be very keen on a projector coming up on this wall and showing what's going on through our mind in the past 24 hours. But Yeshua makes it very clear in the Sermon on the Mount that he's pointing to the internal. It's deeper than just the superficial on the outside. That's what Yah's cleaning up. And I think David's crying out for that as well. He's dealing with the same things. All right, so Wab, verse 41. Let your mercies come also to me, O Yah, your salvation according to your word. So shall I have an answer for him who reproaches me, for I trust in your word. And take not the word of truth utterly out of my mouth, for I have hoped in your ordinances. So shall I keep your law continually, forever and ever. And I will walk at liberty, for I seek your precepts. I will speak of your testimonies, also before kings, and I will not be ashamed, and I will delight myself in your commandments, which I love. My hands also I will lift up to your commandments, which I love, and I will meditate on your statutes. Now, I was going to do something else, but let's see. Let's do a couple more, and then I'm going to jump because there's a couple that I want to point out. But you see how this is going. Now, another thing about this, how This is written, the subheadings are each letter of the alphabet, okay? Or the alphabet, okay? And I've heard, I can't tell because I haven't seen it written in Hebrew, but the starting letter of every verse in that stanza begins with the same letter. So Aleph is all Aleph, all the way through. That takes some thought. That takes some meditation to put together. You're concentrating on what you're doing at that point. So now we're going to Zion, or Zion. Remember the word of your servant, upon which you have caused me to hope. This is my comfort in my affliction, for your word has given me life. The proud have me in great derision, yet I do not turn aside from your law. I remembered your judgments of old, O Yah, and have comforted myself. Indignation has taken hold of me because of the wicked who forsake your law. Your statutes have been my song in the house of my pilgrimage. I remember your name in the night, O Yah, and I keep your law. This has become mine because I keep your precepts. Again, each one of these days, the testimonies, the precepts, the statutes, the commandments, the judgments, they're all different facets of the law, okay? And he's looking at every facet of the law as he's going through each one of these. He's talking about how it sustains him, how it holds him up, how it revives him, how it refreshes him, how it keeps him going. And he's asking, Yah, keep teaching me. Give me understanding. Now, as far as understanding goes, how do we get the ear to hear? And the heart, that's right. The ear to hear and the heart to understand. It comes from, it's given to us, right? That's what Yeshua told the disciples when they asked him, how come you're speaking in parables? Because to you, it has been given to hear these things, but to them it hasn't. Moses even said in Torah, Yah has not given you, has not yet given you a mind of understanding. That comes from Yah. So, when we understand, even a little bit, we know where it came from. And as we continue to read and understand, okay, that understanding naturally grows. All right. I want to bounce over to verse 121 right now. Bounce over to verse 121. Ayin. This one's pretty interesting because I want you to think about.
121 is what?
I'm going to start verse 121 of Psalm 119. Psalm 119, verse 121. I want you to place a couple of verses you're very familiar with in the back of your mind as we get ready to read this. Matthew 5, let's say 17, right? Is that where it's at? 5:17 and 18? Matthew 5, let me look real quick. I can't remember all this. Yeah, 5:17 and 18 says this. Do not think that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For assuredly I say to you, till heaven and earth pass away, one jot or tittle will by no means pass from the law till all is fulfilled. All is fulfilled. Okay? And that was Yeshua, by the way. So I want you to listen to Ayin, because something under this, in this stanza, is going to jump out at you. Verse 121. I have done justice and righteousness. Do not leave me to my oppressors. Be surety for your servant for good. Do not let the proud oppress me. My eyes fail from seeking your salvation. That means he's been looking so hard. And your righteous word. Deal with your servant according to your mercy and teach me your statutes. I am your servant. Give me understanding that I may know your testimonies. It is time for you to act, O Yah, for they have regarded your law as void. Therefore, I love your commandments more than gold, yes, than fine gold. Therefore, all your precepts concerning all things I consider to be right. I hate every false way. So, there were people considering the law void back in David's day. And we got a couple of those hanging around today. I don't know if you've run into any of those. They're just about everywhere in abundance. So you get the point here, I think. Now, with this is a tough read if you're going to sit down and read it. You've heard me talk about the Blue Letter Bible app a lot. The Blue Letter Bible app has an audio feature to it with certain translations of the scripture. The New King James happens to be one of them. I can actually listen to it in Spanish if I want to. I'm not going to understand a lick of it, but I can listen to it in Spanish. That comes in pretty handy when you have a friend or a coworker or somebody that has English as a second language and you're trying to explain something and they're not quite getting it, because we can lose stuff in the translation there. When they hear it in a Spanish translation, they're all of a sudden, okay, I'm following now. All right. So I listen to this. It takes almost 15 minutes to listen through the whole psalm. And there's this one feature in this Blue Letter Bible software that allows you to play that chapter or that chapter 7 times in a row. And so sometimes I'll listen to it 7 times in a row as I'm driving down the road. Okay? And just picking up stuff as I'm going through it. I relied on this psalm the other day, and I listened to it again. And I listened to it because I just needed revived. I just needed refreshed. And between this psalm and worship, I was really, really refreshed and lifted up by the Spirit. This is one of my favorite passages in all of Scripture right now. Happens to be the longest. I'm actually going to write this one out in each stanza. I just want to burn this into me. I want to understand this psalm. And this is going to be a shorter message. So in the closing, I want you to listen. We started off with Aleph. I want you to listen to Tav. Verse 169 is where it starts. Let my cry come before you, O Yah. Give me understanding according to your word. Let my supplications come before you. Deliver me according to your word. My lips shall utter praise, for you teach me your statutes. My tongue shall speak of your word, for all your commandments are righteous. Let your hand become my help, for I have chosen your precepts. I long for your salvation, O Yah, and your law is my delight. Let my soul live, and it shall praise you, and let your judgments help me. I have gone astray like a lost sheep. David? Seek your servant, for I do not forget your commandments. And that's how he's closed it out. And to go through this psalm is very refreshing. Like I said, though, it's a tough read, especially since the mind is a battlefield. You can begin to read this psalm and find yourself thinking about being on the beach in just a couple of verses and be distracted, drifting off. But I encourage you to visit this psalm and listen to the heart of the psalmist as he's going through this. We go through some of the same. We don't have a king chasing us, trying to kill us and throw spears at us. But we do have life coming at us. And I don't know if anybody's recognized it or not, but every once in a while, life will throw you a curveball. Something you're not expecting. Something you're not ready for. End up in the hospital for some reason that you didn't plan on going to the hospital for. You know? And it happens. But there is always encouragement in the Word. And the closer we get, the more time we spend between the Word and the Spirit working together and interacting, the closer we find ourselves in our relationship and our alignment with Yah. And this alignment that I'm talking about, that's something that has puzzled me for years, but I begin to think that I'm grasping an understanding of this. I've often asked, if we have the same Spirit dwelling with us that was in Acts, why don't we have the same power? And the answer is, we do have the same power. But the problem is, we are not aligned with Yah like those in the book of Acts were. Little things. I say little things. But we do not even realize how far we are off base from the way Yah planned things. Originally planned things. We go to a grocery store and get what is loosely labeled food, that most of which you can't eat in the grocery store. And when we're looking at first fruits, the first fruits were honoring Yah for his faithfulness and what he did. He brought that stuff up in Genesis, brought stuff out of the ground to sustain us. But there's hardly 1 in 100 people that knows how to grow food. And if you do know how to grow food, do you grow enough for your whole family for a year? This struck me several years back. Now, when you're raising 6 boys, there's a lot of food that gets eaten. Okay? I just had this idea pop in my head one day. How big of a chicken farm would I have to feed those boys as much chicken as I'm feeding them every week? I mean, just thinking about that.
Well, you'd have to be a full-time farmer.
For sure.
With 10 or 12 acres. But you'd have 6 men to handle your help.
That's true. I would have, but that's going to make them hungry. So now what am I going to do?
You don't work.
Right. That's true. That's true. But I mean, but we've got.
Look at how really simple their life was. It was. Is yours simple?
No.
Is it getting any simpler?
No,
it's not, and it never will. It's
right.
going to continue to go on, and people are going to get farther and farther and farther away from the precepts that you're reading here.
Right, Eric.
So in regards to like simplicity of life, a lot of that's a choice. As much as you might think it's not, we do have a choice as to, you know, how much technology we have on our day-to-day, right? I mean, I think
You're right.
we can definitely find a happy medium, you know?
Convenience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're typically a slave to convenience.
And with technology, it frees us up to do something else we're not supposed to be doing, right? So it just
Well, and think about, oh, well, there's this funny video I seen a while back, and it was a person, it was like 1800s America or something like that. Anyway, this person standing there, and they're a vendor, and they're selling a washer and a dryer or something like that, right? And it's convenience, and they're trying to, you know, tout all the convenience. So the guy walks up to him, he's like, "So you're telling me that I'm going to have to work this much more in order to get the same? That's going to save me this little bit of time. So all the time you save from that washer
Right.
dryer, you're now dedicating to working to afford X, Y, Z thing.
right.
You know, it's how hard are we willing to work? How much are we willing to sacrifice? I mean, this is my own personal opinion. It's that
Or what are the eyes seeing? You know, and so we've drifted generation after generation after generation after generation. I've shared the story before about my mom sitting next to a garden and the boys asking her if that was her garden, and she said, "No, that was our grocery store." You know, that's
when Grandma came over from Sweden back in the 20s, they collected their rainwater,
yep.
how to water their garden. When they boiled their vegetables, they drank the water, they boiled vegetables in, you know, they did a lot of things.
And so what's the big deal about that? Well, the big deal is you're recognizing Yah's provision, right? America doesn't even understand that somebody can shut the spigot off for the food supply. But yet Yah has given us, you know, and they're already getting at the seed level so that they don't want us growing seeds. You know, the seeds are harder to come by, the heirloom seeds. And recognizing this and trying to get back to that it is difficult. You're going against the grain. You're going against the current right now because it's already come this far. But and it's not just the food supply. I mean, it's just like well, there's so many different things. But
that's why, in the end, there's a new heaven and a new earth.
right.
Because there's no way to maintain this the way it's going with the AI coming along. Pretty soon we won't even have to think.
And
Well, we don't anyway.
right. Well, and my point is this is how we have the same spirit within us and we don't see the same. But there's a time coming, and it may be a short time, but there's a time coming when that is going to happen again. We're going to see that power displayed because there is going to be alignment, better alignment than what we have now. You know, I mean, we're trying, we're working in here. I'm not dissing anybody in here. I'm just saying, as a society, as a world, actually, we have drifted so far away.
Well, it's funny too, you know, I don't know how many folks have traveled out of the country or not, but when you leave the U.S., you kind of get a glimpse into, you know, a different way of doing things, right? It's like, oh, well, we're in America, we do things the right way, and everyone else is different and weird, you know. And it's like here you get every homeless person that has a cell phone. You get overweight homeless people. You go to Venezuela, you know, where they had hyperinflation for so many years. There are people that were, you know, they were losing 50, 60 pounds because they couldn't afford food. And there's like certain ways, right, that people have been living. They're like, oh, you know, before X, Y, Z, they don't have this and this and this. Well, if you never had it in the first place, you probably don't miss it, right? And your life is that much more simple. I think we've been handed these things, if you will, to put us into a state of complacency, a state of hypnosis, if you will, you know.
And this steers us back.
Absolutely.
This steers us back to where we need to be. We need to understand, and He is our provision. And we got to do the best we can with what we've got. You know.
Smart to subject yourself to hard things from time to time, because when they left Egypt, right, they had all these lovely conveniences in Egypt, and then all of a sudden it was just gone. And, you know, they were all crying out for their leeks and their meat and all these wonderful things they had in Egypt. Well, if you can subject yourself to some hard things, you know, and try to experience things from here to here, that when you have to experience it in a bigger fashion, you might be able to cope with it a little bit better, you know.
Now, having said what I just said and all the discussion we just had, I need to clarify something. We're here right now dealing with this because that's where we're supposed to be. Okay? There's a time coming down the road that we're going to see miracles again happening through believers. But that time is not yet. Okay? You may see them sporadically here and there. They are happening in some third world countries even. Okay? But we're not where we're at by accident. Okay? Does anybody have any comments or questions? Or I really encourage you to go through that psalm. It's something that you can definitely relate to, especially if you're going through a time of struggle over whatever reason. All right, so if that's it, it is time to.
Prepare us to receive the blessing.
All right.